Rabbi, I got two questions I want to ask.
Two questions. Go ahead. That's always a good way to start. Yes.
Yeah. The first thing is we learned last week about we cannot sieve, we cannot separate, right? How about the water? We use the water filter.
It's a good question. Water filter, is it a problem of borer?
Yes.
Selecting, separating.
Yes.
And so there is a law which makes it easier, in which the halacha says it's only considered to be illegal, separating, if people wouldn't drink it otherwise. In other words, it needs to be separated, so much so that now you're separating the bad from the good, the waste from the desired product. But many people feel that for water, since so many people drink it even without filters, that it's not considered to be that you're separating out waste necessarily. It's just sort of like an extra. And also the way it's done, usually you don't pour it through the sifter. There's something on the top of the, right? The filter is either on the tap, it's in the pipes, or it's in the pitcher, and you sort of pour it through the pitcher. So there's room to be lenient. It's a little more complicated how the halachic mechanism works, but there's room to be lenient when it comes to water filters regarding Shabbat for those two reasons. Okay. Another question, yeah.
Another question is, okay, on Shabbat night, I got the soup. Okay.
Good.
Cooking
Wow, I'm
soup.
hungry already. Yeah.
It's in a crock pot. Then I have spring onion. I cut the spring onion before that, so I plan to use on Shabbat. So I take out the soup to put in another bowl and put in the spring onion. Is it cooking?
It's a good question. So first of all, when it comes to Yom Tov, there's no problem because it's Yom Tov. You're allowed to cook.
Yes.
Yes. Problem is Shabbat.
Yes.
Problem is Shabbat. Shabbat, you're not allowed to cook. So you take fresh onion and you put it into your soup. Maybe you're cooking it. Onion's not been cooked yet. It's fresh. And the soup is very hot.
But it's clean.
Excellent. It depends. So you have the soup in your pot where it's been cooked. That's called kli rishon, right? Now you obviously take it off the fire, but it's still kli rishon. You only serve from it once it's off of the fire, and then you put it into your bowl.
But when I scoop it, is that?
That's the question. The ladle. The ladle is considered to be Bokatov. Is the ladle considered to be a kli sheni, and therefore that would make the bowl that you're serving in a third vessel. A third vessel. The principle general is third vessel doesn't have the power to cook halachically. So it's a debate. We rely on it in many ways, in many instances. Together with other considerations. The bottom line is there is room to be lenient when it comes to putting these types of things into your third vessel, even putting in other spices. But when it comes to putting the fresh onion in the third vessel, the ladle can be considered to be a second vessel for this, even though it's debatable. It depends if you stick it in and you leave it there for a while, so then it gets hot, just like the first vessel. So there's room to debate that, but there's room to be lenient. Yes, there's room to be lenient. Yeah. Also, depends how hot the soup is. That's the first thing. The soup is not so hot that it's going to scald you. It's called yad solerepo, that your hand recoils from it. So then it can't cook halachically. So if the soup is at a temperature which is edible, it's probably not at a temperature that it can halachically cook. So then it's another reason to be lenient. That's the main thing, is if the soup's not as hot as what's the temperature we usually consider to be yad solerepo. I can't remember specifically. There's a few different opinions. I think 70, 80 degrees, so it's pretty hot. So if it's less than that, which many times it is, when it gets to your bowl, and you're serving it to people, so then, for sure that's okay. For sure that's okay. If it's kli shlishi and it's not even hot, then there's no question. Okay, good question. All right. So, let me just, while we're at it though, expand. You mentioned something like a crock pot.
Yeah.
And here, it's a little more complicated. It sounds like to me like you're leaving the soup in the crock pot. You're leaving the crock pot in its base. But usually there's a base. What is a crock pot? It's like looks like a pot that has a plug and has a heating element in it. And then inside that pot, there's a ceramic pot where you have your soup or cholent or whatever it is. So usually most people use that type of thing. Orthodox Jews use it for cholent. It stays there all night. It's a slow cooker, it's called. Crock pot is a slow cooker. And then Shabbat morning, when you want to have your cholent, then you can take the pot out of the crock pot and serve it. What you're suggesting is that you're using it for soup. And then you're having some of the soup Friday night.
But I use a Shabbat time just for the Shabbat night, that's all.
Oh, okay, yeah. The question is, though, usually, as I mentioned, that we try not to dish out the food when the pot is still on the fire, when it's still on top of the heating elements.
Yes.
Because it's called stirring up. If the food is not fully cooked, then you could be causing it to be cooked by stirring it on the fire. So the rabbi said, never stir or never serve, which is like stirring. When you serve, you could be stirring it up while it's on the fire. This is a restriction of the rabbis. So you would have to take the pot out of the heating element.
I cannot leave the pot, right? When I take out, if I want to put it back, I cannot leave the...
Right, if you want to put it back. So that's the question, can you even put it back? Some rabbis are machmir for this crock pot, the slow cooker, because it has an inside. It's not just a flat plata. So there is room to be machmir. I've seen someone who is matir such a thing, that, like you said, if you have your hand on it, you think about it, you can return it. But the simple halacha is that you should, if you're only going to use it for Friday night, so when you're ready to eat, you take it out of the crock pot and then you serve it from there, like we do when we take it off our plata. We have the chicken soup. I'm a big fan of chicken soup every Friday night. So when we serve the soup, we take the soup off of the hot plate, and then we dish it out. It's a problem if somebody else is coming later, and you want to keep the soup hot. That's a problem. There is a Chazon Ish who allows such serving the soup from on top of the plata, but the standard halacha is that you have to take it off. You have to take it off, and then for later, there is a way to keep it hot on top of another pot. If you have one pot on top of another pot, you could do that, but it's a little tricky. So using the crock pot to put it back into it, it's problematic. But it is a rabbinic stricture. As long as everything's cooked up, I could say, if you need to, you can be lenient about that. I did see this rabbi publish this book. I forget what it's called, Limited Melachot Shabbat or something like that. Somebody showed me that he suggests that since many of these crock pots, the inner pot is a little bit elevated away from the elements, so it's not directly into. It's not considered to be that you're actually putting the pot into the oven, as the Talmud doesn't like. So there's room to be lenient. So if you do take it off and you keep your hand on it and you think that you're going to be returning it, there is room to be lenient and return it to the crock pot. And that's what my wife does when she takes it off the hot plate. Takes it off the hot plate. If she knows somebody's going to be coming later, she'll serve with one hand, keep her hand on the pot with the other hand. She puts it down not on the floor but on the counter. Serve out a few bowls of soup, and then put the pot back onto the plata. That's easier than putting it back into the crock pot, but there's room to be lenient. If you guys don't have a hot plate or you prefer to do it that way, there's definitely there's room to be lenient. It's a rabbinic stricture, and this just recently a student showed me this psak halacha that a leniency about the crockpots that I was not aware of, because crockpot, it's a little bit in between. Is it considered to be on top of the element or inside the element? Because it's a little bit of both. It's a strange structure. Okay, good, but it's good to know the laws of Shabbat, and we're learning from discussing the laws of Yom Tov. It's good. It brings up all sorts of things that we know about Shabbat, that we should know about Shabbat as well. Okay, let's continue to chapter 7. Chapter 7, again, we're continuing pretty much, like I said, learning about the laws of Yom Tov, but from there we're going to get into the laws of we'll learn from there about the laws of Shabbat. Good morning. Chapter 7, page 117. Yosef, before you have to leave, let you read.
Sure. Since in most cases the laws pertaining to the sick are the same on Yom Tov and on Shabbat, we'll briefly review the laws pertaining to the sick on Shabbat and explain the special laws of Yom Tov. There are three categories of sick people according to Halakha. One, a gravely ill person whose life is in danger. Two, a secular sick person whose whole body
A regular sick person, yeah, go ahead.
Whose whole body is ill but whose life is not in him. Three, a mildly sick person who is ill in part of his body who experiences pain from a bodily ailment.
Okay, so studying these laws of sick people is going to be a special merit for us to keep us all healthy. We'll be healthy, Baruch Hashem. Be ready, and if necessary, we have to take care of someone else who's sick, but hopefully we'll stay healthy. And so what are the three categories? I'll say them in Hebrew. Chole sheyesh bo sakana. Chole is somebody sick. Sheyesh bo sakana, there is danger involved. Danger to his life is the question. Somebody who's could actually die from this sickness. Chole sheyesh bo sakana. That's number one. Number two is chole she'ein bo sakana. Chole, sick person that does not have any danger to his case. He can be very sick, but it's not going to make him die. And the third category is he's not even considered to be sick. He's just mildly sick. Mechush, it's usually called michush. Michush means you're feeling bad. Wouldn't call it sick. In other words, the category number two, chole she'ein bo sakana, it's still you're very sick. You're just not, there's no danger to life. And that's critically important when it comes to the halachic determinations, as we're going to see. So let's see, these are the three categories. What's the halacha for each one? Hopefully you know what the halacha is for category number one. Chole sheyesh bo sakana. What's the halacha? What's the halacha? That's it. Pikuach nefesh. And what's the halacha? Danger to life.
Yeah.
So what's the law about Shabbat?
I can desecrate.
That overrides Shabbat. It overrides Shabbat for sure. That's ABCs.
For him to perform more Shabbat.
Also good. The ABCs. Actually, when you come to speak about medical stuff, I was taught in first aid, A, B, C. I think it's airway, breathing, and circulation. You make sure that he can breathe, you tilt the head back, and then if there's something blocking his breathing, and then circulation, you pump the heart if necessary. They call it the ABCs. But the ABCs of halacha, of sick people on Shabbat, is that if there's any danger to life, or even a doubt that it could cause danger to life, you must take care of the person and not consider that it's a desecration of Shabbat. It's even not called a desecration. All right? Let's see it inside. Okay, Yosef, you're reading beautifully. Page 117. Regarding
a gravely ill person, the relevant principle is well known. Saving a life on Shabbat or Yom Tov. Such a person is treated on Shabbat or Yom Tov in the same way he would be treated on on a weekday, and all prohibitions are superseded in order to save his life. So our prohibitions may not be violated on behalf of a regular sick person, meaning one who is bedridden but whose life is not in danger. But rabbinic prohibitions may be violated on Shabbat to treat him.
Okay, so that's category 2. What's the law by category 2? Somebody who's sick but not dangerously sick. What are the law? What did he say?
May not be violated.
Rabbinic Shabbat.
That rabbinic laws may be.
Here you have to know what's biblically prohibited. You can't do that. It's not going to cause danger to life. But if he's still ill, bedridden, he's called sick, you can transgress, or you can override rabbinic prohibitions. One important rabbinic prohibition, it's very interesting, relevant. Of course, there's many rabbinic prohibitions. We spoke about the muktzah in the last chapter. There's lots of other rabbinic prohibitions. One is an interesting rabbinic prohibition that's very relevant to this chapter, and that is the rabbis prohibited in general. They said on Shabbat, you should not do things that are medicinal. Doing things for health. Medicine is not allowed. And the reason why they said that is because it's not that they have anything against feeling good, but it's still today, but it used to be much more prevalent. Medicine essentially, in most cases, was taking some herbs and grinding them up. And grinding, of course, is prohibited on Shabbat. And then feeding the person this remedy made from herbs and spices. And the rabbi said, well, you're not allowed to grind on Shabbat or Yom Tov, so you're not allowed to do any medicine, because if you start doing medicines, you'll eventually you'll be led to grinding on Shabbat, which is a biblical prohibition. So there's a rabbinic prohibition against medicine. But wait, if somebody's a regular sick person, you can override the rabbinic prohibitions. So you can give him medicine. So what does the rabbi's prohibition ever apply? Who would need medicine if not somebody who's sick? The answer is the third category. Remember the third category of people that are ill? So it's just a little bit ill. It's not quite sick. He's not bedridden. But he doesn't feel well. That's not called sick. For those type of people, you're not allowed to give medicine. This is the rabbinic stricture. But in somebody who's actually sick, not gravely in danger, but sick, he's bedridden, you can give him any kind of medicine that he needs. There's no rabbinic prohibition. If somebody's not at the level of a sick person, then we have a rabbinic prohibition on giving medicines. Okay? So let's see it inside. Go ahead.
Regarding Yom Tov, most kings disagree as to whether melachot may be done for food preparation may also be done for a sick person. Some permit saying that the same way these melachot may be undertaken for purposes of food preparation or other Yom Tov meals, they may also be undertaken on behalf of one who is sick. Others prohibit, maintaining that it is forbidden by the Torah to undertake such melachot for a person who is sick but is in no danger, because these melachot are permitted only when they are shaveh kol nefesh. These poskim maintain that the needs of a sick person do not fit into this category. In practice, because this disagreement returns to a Torah prohibition, the halakha follows the stringent position. Therefore, melachot that may not be done on behalf of a sick person on Shabbat may also not be done on behalf of a sick person on Yom Tov, as explained in Penei Halakha Shabbat. Thus, medication may not be cooked for a sick person, nor may a flame be lit to sterilize a needle. Intravenous injections may not be given because they cause bleeding, which is considered chovel, wounding, atulada of shachet. In contrast, actions which are only rabbinically prohibited may be done for a regular sick person.
Okay, sometimes you need to do some cooking. Not for the person to eat, everybody can eat. Of course you can cook on Yom Tov for somebody to eat. But if you need not to cook something not for him to eat it, but for his medicine, so here you're doing a biblical prohibition. Well, the question is it prohibited? Yom Tov, you're allowed to do things for tzorach ochel nefesh. We said that can be expanded to anything that you need, that a normal person needs, shaveh lechol nefesh, that most people or it's commonly needed. But this is something done only for sick people. That's not common. That's not a commonly needed melacha. And so I can't even think of an example. So this is really not so practical. But it's good to understand the categories. As this is a debate, and he says since it's a debate about about biblical question, a Torah prohibition, halacha follows a stringent position. We saw that before. What did we call that? What's a case of doubt? What's called in Hebrew? Doubt? Safek. And what did we say? What's biblical or Torah prohibition? Safek deoraita lechumra. Safek deoraita lechumra. What's the opposite of that? Safek derabanan lekula. Lekula. Okay. Let's see. Let's go on to number 2. One who suffers a mild sickness or ailments. Go ahead. Yosef.
Mild sick person, one who suffers for mild sickness or ailments, that is one who can walk around as though healthy, but experiences discomfort or irritation from a mild illness, has the same status as a healthy person. He must observe all the Shabbat and Yom Tov prohibitions, including the relatively minor or unique ones referred to as shivut. However, if the illness or ailment causes pain, then any shivut may be undertaken on his behalf. In other words, actions that are prohibited rabbinically may be done on his behalf, either by a non-Jew or by a Jew, using shinui. When it comes to these laws, the same rules apply to both Yom Tov and Shabbat. However, when it comes to taking medicine, there is a difference between Shabbat and Yom Tov. The prohibition on taking medicine in Yom Tov is dependent upon the disagreement mentioned in the previous section. On Shabbat, the sages prohibited taking medicines out of concern that one would end up grinding the ingredients, thus transgressing Tochen. However, on Yom Tov, some are permissive, indicating that just as black pepper may be ground up to season food, so too medicine may be ground up for someone who is sick. If grinding the medicine is permitted, taking it is certainly permitted. In contrast, according to the stringent view, the permissibility of doing melacha on Yom Tov applies to the needs of those who are healthy. It does not extend to the needs of the sick, since their needs are not shaveh lechol nefesh. Accordingly, it is rabbinically prohibited to take medicine, out of concern that one will grind the ingredients. Nevertheless, the prohibition on taking medicine is rabbinic, and we are lenient in cases of doubt about rabbinic rules. Thus, we are lenient here, and medicine of all sorts may be taken in Yom Tov, whether liquids or pills. Similarly, a liquid medicine may be applied, typically of blood, on Yom Tov.
Yafe. So we have a leniency about Yom Tov regarding the prohibition of administering medicine to somebody who's only mildly ill. In general, there is a debate about taking regular painkillers like Acamol or Advil, Ibuprofen, those kind of things. Some, even though it's medicine, you have a headache. You're going to shul, you can get up, you can go to have your meals, you're not lying in bed, but you have a headache. It's annoying. If you just took a pill, you'd feel better. So the standard psak is, well, you're considered to be someone who's only mildly ill, and there should be a rabbinic prohibition against taking medicines. Some rabbis allow it all year round because they say nowadays some people take Acamol every day. Some people, and who really grinds medicines on their own anymore? It's very rare. So some rabbis are lenient, and they say that even somebody who's mildly ill is allowed to take regular painkillers on Shabbat. It's a debate. There's some rabbis who are lenient. When it comes to Yom Tov, here we have an extra reason to be lenient. Because on Yom Tov, some people say that the law should be different because grinding for food is allowed. So grinding is not as absolutely forbidden as it usually is. And therefore, this whole idea of medicine coming from, as we're afraid that you might grind, so, if someone needs medicine, maybe you're allowed to grind for him. So for sure, just taking the medicine is a lot. So if you're staying up all night on Shavuot night, and in the middle of the night you say, I need to sleep, getting a headache from lack of sleep could happen sometimes. So there's no problem on Yom Tov taking an akamol to. Also you don't have to stay up all night. We'll talk about that soon. We're going to switch over to talk about the laws of Shavuot after this chapter, actually. But the leniency about taking medicines on Yom Tov. Okay, number 3. Gabriel, will you read for us? Page 120.
The last pertaining to Shabbat and Yom Tov are nearly the same, except when it comes to melachot, which are necessary for all nefesh. These melachot are prohibited on Shabbat but permitted on Yom Tov. Shabbat and Yom Tov are also the same when it comes to rabbinic prohibitions. True, violating Shabbat is more severe than violating Yom Tov, and as we see from the respective punishments, one who only performs a melacha on Shabbat is liable to stoning, and no illustrations makes him liable to bring a sin offering. In contrast, on Yom Tov, one who transgresses knowingly is liable to lashes, while one who transgresses unknowingly is exempt from sin offering. On the other hand, one could also argue that it makes sense to be stricter on Yom Tov since Menachem for all nefesh is permitted on Yom Tov. There is more concern that people might not take Yom Tov seriously enough and thus end up doing prohibited melachot. In fact, we have seen that a melacha is more stringent about muktzeh on Yom Tov than on Shabbat. Since Shabbat is stricter in some ways and Yom Tov is stricter in others, unless it is stated explicitly that there is a difference, the laws are the same for both. We have already explained the rabbinic prohibitions in Dinei Halakha, Shabbat, since they were also relevant to Yom Tov. We will review them here in a brief.
Okay, so here we have now, after this discussion about how maybe things should be different on Shabbat from Yom Tov, bottom line is he says we apply pretty much all the same rules for Shabbat and for Yom Tov when it comes to rabbinic prohibitions, just like we do for everything. The major difference, of course, is for cooking and everything we spoke about up till now. But here we have an opportunity to review rabbinic prohibitions. What are the rabbinic prohibitions on Shabbat and on Yom Tov as well? Okay, so let's hear. They got a list. It sounds like this is a list of rabbinic prohibitions, which are ones mentioned explicitly by the rabbis. Go ahead.
In Shabbat and Yom Tov, it is prohibited to climb trees, ride animals, swim, or play musical instruments, lest one end up repairing them. Dancing in a way that could lead to the repairing of a musical instrument is also prohibited. A Beit Din does not convene or no matrimonial ceremonies are performed, marriage, divorce, yibum, Levirate marriage, or chalitza, Levirate divorce. Objects are not consecrated for temple use, nor are terumot and maaser set aside. However, one who bakes on Yom Tov does set aside challah. The rabbinic prohibition of asking a non-Jew to perform melacha in the course of Yom Tov, as it is on Shabbat. In other words, anything that a Jew may not do even rabbinically, he may not request a non-Jew to do for him. There are exceptions, though, on great need, or is meant to alleviate suffering.
On Yom Tov, as on Shabbat.
On Yom Tov, as on Shabbat, if the request is for the sake of a mitzvah or a great need, or it's meant to alleviate suffering, a non-Jew may be asked to do a rabbinically prohibited action, because involving the non-Jew reduces the prohibition from a shvut to a shvutish shvut. However, when it comes to Torah, Ochel Nefesh, and Yom Tov, this is the Torah permitted, biblically prohibited melacha. The sages permitted rabbinically prohibited actions. For example, they allowed the skins of just slaughtered animals to be left in the place where people would walk on them. They also permitted removing a door from a storage cabinet in order to take food out of it. In some cases, they even permitted replacing the door in a temporary fashion to prevent the food in the cabinet from being stolen. They also permitted assembling in a temporary fashion a table and a chair to use at a meal, even though these last activities are prohibited on Shabbat due to concerned that the assembly will be done in a permanent way on Yom Tov, we are lenient if it is necessary for me. Some say that just as the sages prohibited benefiting from forbidding Melachah on Shabbat, so too are they prohibited benefiting from forbidding Melachah on Yom Tov, Rambam. So it maintains that since Yom Tov is less severe than Shabbat, the sages did not forbid benefiting from forbidding Melachah than Rashba. All agree that if Menachem done in a forbidden manner is one of those that is permitted for nefesh, it is not forbidden to derive benefit from it.
Okay, so we're getting into some details here which are not so common. I think we can call it a day and move ahead and start the chapter 13. Because the rest of the halachot we spoke about Eruv Tavshilin, we're not going to speak about Yom Tov Sheni now. We don't have Chol HaMoed to speak about for Shavuot, so we'll leave for next holiday in about half a year. And we're going to skip ahead to chapter 13 and start talking about Shavuot. Shavuot, how many days to the Omer is it now? 38. 38. So just 11 days to go till the end of the Omer, and then comes Shavuot. So we have just under 2 weeks to get ready. Of course, we're going to be spending some time in the coming days on discussing Yom Yerushalayim. Yom Yerushalayim, we have to understand where it fits into the context of Jewish history, what happened on this day, why we celebrate. But before that and after that, we'll make sure we get to Shavuot. Sorry? Okay, so if there are no questions about rabbinic prohibitions and medical prohibitions regarding Yom Tov, we can move ahead. Yes?
So the reason we don't play instruments is just because we might damage them and try to fix them?
Correct. That's the rabbinic stricture. They said no playing music on Shabbat and Yom Tov, even though there's nothing really biblically prohibited about playing music. But the rabbi said, I think it's still common when you play guitar, a string breaks, and you tie it up, or you make a knot in the new string when you string the guitar, and so on and so forth. Every instrument. The rabbis, that's the main reason that's written, why the rabbi said we're not allowed to play musical instruments. In addition, of course, it's become a mark of the character of the day. Character of Shabbat would be very different if we would be playing music. As beautiful as music is, and as much as it enhances our services in shul, or our singing, our enjoyment, there's something very special about having a day without any instruments and sort of back to basics type of atmosphere that it engenders on the Shabbat. So yeah, we don't play musical instruments on Shabbat or Yom Tov. That's why we're so excited when there's Chol HaMoed. Chol HaMoed, you are allowed to do Melacha. So, for the sake of enjoying on the Moed. So we can drive our cars and we can play music as well and have concerts and so forth, but not on the regular Shabbat or Yom Tov. Yeah, good question. You have to sing. You have to sing. Do you like to sing? Do you play an instrument?
Piano.
Piano? Well?
I learned, but I don't know how to read I just learned which keys I have to play.
For a song?
Yeah, if I want to play a song.
Okay. You know specific songs and not others, or you can pick it up? Yeah.
Specific songs only.
Okay, yeah. Okay. It's a start. That's a start. Chapter 13 is on page 219. We're going to get ready for Shavuot. The things that are unique about this holiday, we've been talking about the laws of Yom Tov in general, and it's about time. 4 names for the festival of Shavuot. Israel, how are you today?
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, doing well? You had a nice Shabbat?
Good.
Here in the neighborhood, or you went to Beit Vegan?
No, I yeshiva.
Here in Yeshiva? Oh, okay. Good. This coming Shabbat is an out Shabbat, right? And because the following Shabbat, it's a double header. Right? It's 2 days. Shavuot and then immediately Shabbat.
Yes.
And of course, Shavuot is the time to be in yeshiva. Is it not the festival of receiving the Torah? What do you come to yeshiva for,
Study.
if not to receive the Torah? So of course we have shiurim here all night long, and there's this big celebration, and this is the place to be on Shavuot. So the week beforehand, you can, travel and see where you need to be. But okay, let's get started. Yisrael, will you read for us Shavuot? The 4 names. What are the 4 names of the festival of Shavuot?
There's 4 names of the festival of the Shavuot one. Shavuot, as we said, you should observe the festival of which for the Lord your God.
Okay, so what's the first name? Shavuot. That's E. Shavuot. R. What's R? E, R, son, right? Number 1 is E. E is Shavuot. And number 2 is, go ahead. E-R. What's that in Hebrew? Chag HaKatzir. Chag HaKatzir, that means harvest. Right, so this is the time of the harvest of the wheat. We had a little bit of the beginning of the harvest by Pesach. That was for the barley that comes ripe earlier. We had the first that we had a korban, we had an offering from barley. But now we have the offering from wheat, special offering of wheat, because this is the time of the harvest festival of the wheat, which is the primary grain. Go ahead, number 3. Sun.
Day of the first fruit, Yom HaBikurim, and we read on the day of the first fruit, your first fruit of the wheat, when you bring an offering of the new grain to the Lord.
Oh, so we have another, there's a mitzvah called Bikurim. What does Bikurim mean? First fruits. And when does that mitzvah take place? Well, it's a little bit of a tricky question. The beginning time is Shavuot. The truth is, you're allowed to bring your first fruits throughout the summer. It doesn't have to be on Shavuot. But the earliest time you bring your first fruits is on Shavuot. Most of the fruits are not ripe before Shavuot. Fruits, peaches, pears, all these summer fruits, they grow throughout the summer. All winter long they get the rain, and springtime they start to blossom, and they turn into fruits, and they become ripe just about now, around the time of Shavuot, and throughout the summer. But you have different types of fruits. They're not all ripe on Shavuot. Some will only be ripe in a month or 2. So you can't bring your first fruits before they're ripe. But the season begins on Shavuot. This is the beginning of the first fruits. Yom HaBikurim is called the day of the first fruits because that's the beginning of the season. But then you continue to bring your first fruits throughout the summer, all the way until Sukkot, which is 5 months from now, at the end of the summer, the beginning of the fall. Okay, number 4. Arsan. Su. Number 4. Su.
The gathering, the service, the first festival, made with the rabbinic
literature. Yeah, so Atzeret. Atzeret means a gathering or stopping. We have an Atzeret after the end of Sukkot. It's on the 8th day of Sukkot, so it's called Shmini Atzeret. But this holiday, the rabbis call it Atzeret. I described to you way back when we were talking about Sfirat HaOmer, that essentially this is the Atzeret of Pesach. It's the ending, the bookend for the festival of Atzeret. Anyways, the rabbis called Shavuot Atzeret. So we have 4 names. Who knows them off by heart? Israel, what are the 4 names? Without looking. The 4 names. Not reading it, it's in your head. Shavuot. Katzir. Bikurim. Atzeret. Good. Okay, Binyamin, you got them? Shalom. Bikurim, you got the 4? Are you okay? Welcome. What are the 4 names of Shavuot?
Hag Shavuot.
Shavuot is 1.
Hag
Katzir, yeah.
Bikurim.
And?
Azir or
Atzeret. Atzeret. Okay? Yalla. Let's begin by explaining its primary name. Hananel, how are you? It's good to see you. Wonderful. Will you read for us? Now that you just came. I'm throwing you into things. We're at the bottom of page 219. The timing of Shavuot is unique. Go ahead.
The timing of Shavuot is unique. All other festivals have defined date. The Shabbat start on the 15th of Nisan Rosh, Hashanah on the 1st of Israel, Yom Kippur on the day of Israel, and Sukkot and on the 15th of Israel. However, Shavuot has no assigned date. Each date is dependent on Sukkot HaOmer. The owner of who not work on the second day of Pesach. From that day becomes 7 weeks for a total of 49 days. The following days and the 15th is celebrated on Saturday.
50th. The 50th day.
Is celebrated as Shavuot. Thus we do every week, and from the day on which you do the same. So near of the resurrection of grain, the day after the Sabbath is Shabbat over 7 days. They must be complete. They must count the days after the Sabbath. 7 weeks, 15 days, 50 days. Then you shall bring an offering of new bread to the Lord. Similarly, you shall count all 7 weeks, but count 7 weeks where the equal is partly to the statement of grain. Then you shall observe the festival of the week for the Lord your God. So nowadays, God is always in the 6th of month. But this is because we have a set calendar. In the past, the belief was comprised of only ordained judges. They would certify the new month. They were meaning of my Rose or based on the testimony as to the moon appearance under those then the festival was celebrated on the week or 7th of Sivan. Accordingly, the timing of Shabbat depends upon the timing of the Pesach. The implication is that only by traveling such that we get Shavuot and the giving of the Torah to direct connected principle were revealed of the Sabbath. The Jewish people uniqueness of simple faith. When God chose Israel as his special nation, small the Egyptian, and gave his nation freedom, he demonstrated that he is the creator who runs the world. You said this simple faith, however, for the faith to reach its full expression about us to help the world forget the world's creation. We need the Torah as well for it contains the commandments and guidance necessary to perfect the world. This is the meaning of what we see in the report of the Torah. Who chose us from among all the nations refers to the Torah, and because the Torah refers to what is involved in basic faith views of the subject, it is impossible to arrive at a deep and complete faith by Shavuot. Conversely, our natural taken, our uniqueness could not survive without the Torah given on the Shavuot. God gave us the festival of Pesach and Shavuot so that we may believe the miraculous events of it, and to the work, and to once again remind us of the uniqueness of Jews and simple faith. This realization allows us to use the time period of secret Muhammad to readily ascend to the sacred days on which the Torah was given when our faith became whole and complete. This year we are able to rise higher and higher. Ultimately, the whole world will be filled with righteousness and justice, mercy, and compassion. And the world will be filled with the knowledge of God.
Yafeh. So Pesach leads to Shavuot. Shavuot is the completion of Pesach. Pesach, we start the journey of the Jewish people. We have this faith that Hashem saves us, took us out, redeems us from Egypt. But ultimately, we need to be more than just babies. We have to grow up. We have to mature a little bit. We have to know how to get to work on time and class. To be able to have da'at, to be able to have understanding. So we celebrate that on Shavuot. Shavuot is when we grew up. We became a nation with Torah. Okay, so everybody take a piece of paper. If you don't have one, there's some on the over there on the table, and get a pen. Giving you a little quiz. You could do it in your notebook if you like. Yeah, little quiz. Everybody have a pen? Wow. Benjamin has an extra one if you need. You might have one. Do you have an extra one? Here's a pencil. Hanano, here. Okay, I need you to write down the names of the Hebrew months of the year and the dates of all the festivals. It was just in the last page, most of them. You saw it, you can look inside, page 219. We said that most of the dates, okay, of the festivals.
Nisan?
Start from Nisan, yeah. 219. 219. 19. And when you finish writing down all the months, then write down the festivals, and I'll be right back. Okay, the months of the year. It starts with Nisan, so you have one. Okay, Nisan is the first month.
Nisan, yes, Ivan, then
Tammuz, Tammuz, Av,
yeah, I think Tammuz.
Tammuz, Av, Tishrei.
Yes.
First of
Israel.
Tishrei Cheshvan. Kislev. The song, right? The song is in there. So, was it Elul? The Tishrei, yeah?
Israel.
If the people come Sedat, can Sedat?
What's that?
Sedat. So, what come after Kislev?
He's left Tibet.
David. And then Sedat.
And Shiva.
Shiva.
And
After Kislev come?
Adar. And like his left is Tibet.
David. David.
Where do you find this? Here?
Who's finished? Who's finished?
290.
Who's finished? Shall I remind you? We had a song, remember?
Yes.
Nisan, let's get the words too. Should I help you? I'm going to sing it for you. Okay, listening? Hananel, you want to listen to the tune of the 12 months? Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul, Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar. If that was too quick, you can copy it from here. Too quick for you? Here, copy it from here. Copy it from here. Pass one to Hananel. If you don't know it off by heart. Israel, do you need this? And pass one to Israel too. You got it, right? You got it. You got it. Yeah. So now that you've got the names, copy them over. And then the dates of the festivals in each month, right? When the festival.
So Shavuot is not the exact date.
Every festival has a precise date, except for Shavuot. Even Shavuot nowadays does, but biblically it doesn't. What month are we in now?
In the month of Iyar.
The month of Iyar. That's right. Second month. We just started the year.
Is Lag BaOmer also always on one date?
It's always on the 18th of Iyar. Yeah, the way our calendar works, yeah. בבקשה.
The secular months?
The Jewish months.
No, secular.
What are they? January, February, March? What are
May.
Well, now we're in May. Now we're in May. Now we're in May. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. If you're finished, show me your work. No, but what's the date? The date of the holidays. Nisan Yasivan Tamuza V'Hela Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar.
Finish.
Good. Show me.
Oops. I just put the numbers and the slide number 14, 21.
Okay. Close. No cigar. Almost good. Yeah, that's good. Almost. Close. Pretty good. You're missing a few.
Yes, the other ones I don't know.
Okay. It's a mystery.
Like young had smooth, I don't know actually.
Okay, so we'll figure that out. So take this. You can actually fill it in. Here, you can take this too. You can fill it in if you want. Let's take it up. Okay, ready? If you didn't get it yet, we'll do it now. Nisan, first month.
Pesach.
Pesach, what day?
14th.
15th. On the 14th it was the sacrifice, but the holiday starts on the 15th. And it goes for 7 days. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 15 to 21. That's Pesach. Okay? 7 days, 15, 16, 17.
Like Sukkot also.
We'll get to Sukkot in a minute. First, everybody got that? The first line?
Passover?
Yeah.
Passover?
15.
15. 15 to 21. So I would write, over here you could have 50 to 21. 15 to 21 of Iyar, of Nisan, is Pesach. Got that? Okay. Now Iyar. Yom HaTzmaut is on Hey Iyar, the 5th of Iyar.
Pesach Sheni on the 15th of Iyar.
Pesach Sheni is 15, exactly, just like 15th of Nisan, 15th of Iyar. Very good. Nechananel, you understand what we said? And for Pesach, what's the date? The date of Pesach.
15 on this one.
15 to 21. Yom Ha'atzmaut, 5th of Iyar. 5th. Pesach Sheni? Israel, Pesach Sheni, when is Pesach Sheni? Pesach Sheni is 1 month after Pesach Rishon. So it's the 15th of Iyar, is Pesach Sheni. Lag BaOmer always comes out on the 18th of Iyar, and Yom Yerushalayim, 28th of Iyar. Okay? Yom Yerushalayim, 28th of Iyar. Next, Sivan.
Sivan, I said 5th, maybe it's 4th of Sivan.
No.
Shavuot.
Nope.
3rd of Sivan.
15.
No, guess.
Nope.
The first.
Well, let's skip Shavuot. We'll come back to Shavuot in a minute.
There's 15.
When is the 17th of Tammuz fast day?
17.
And when is the 9th of Av fast day?
9.
Ah, okay, that was easy, right? The Elul, the whole month is preparation. Tishrei,
1 and 2.
Rosh Hashanah is 1 and 2. Very good. Rosh Hashanah 1 and 2 of Tishrei. Yom Kippur? No. How many days of repentance are there?
10 days.
10 days. From 1 of Tishrei till the 10th of Tishrei. Yamim Noam, 10 days. So Yom Kippur is on the 10th day of Tishrei. Okay? And Stephen, Sukkot. When's Sukkot?
15.
15 through 21 plus 1.
Yes.
Shmini Atzeret. So the 22nd is a holiday in Tishrei as well. Got that? As opposed to Pesach, it's only 7 days. Yeah?
It's 22 then.
So here it's 15. Sukkot is 15, Yom Kippur is 10, Rosh Hashanah is 1 and 2.
The Sukkot 15, 22.
15 through 22. You could say that if you're including Shmini Atzeret as part of Sukkot. Yeah. Oh, pretty pictures. Where did this come from? Oh, the unicorn. It's from the Eurovision. I don't know why. Okay. So we're almost done. Tishrei, you got the answers, Benjamin? You understand when it's Tishrei?
Sivan.
We're not up to Sivan yet. We're up to Tishrei. Rosh Hashanah. Do you see that? Tishrei? Rosh Hashanah? Yeah. So what number in Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah? 1 and 2.
Oh.
1st and 2nd of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah. And when is Yom Kippur? Sorry. When is Yom Kippur? The 10th of Tishrei. Israel, you got that? And Binyamin, when is Sukkot? What day of Tishrei? The 15th. Look at Tishrei. Tishrei, over here. Tishrei. So Tishrei, all the way at the end, that's Rosh Hashanah. You see the holidays there, Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah.
That's 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Yom Kippur is on 10.
10.
And Sukkot is on the 15th through the 22nd. Cheshvan has a nickname. It's called Mar Cheshvan. Mar means bitter. Some people say that's because there's no holidays in it, so it's crying. Kislev.
Hanukkah.
When is Hanukkah?
25th.
25th
Kislev.
until it's 8 days, right? So 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th.
Until the next 29.
And then you got to continue 3 more days. 1, 2, 3. Till the 3rd of Tevet.
29, then
25th of Kislev
25th, 29.
until the 3rd of Tevet. And then when is the fast day of the 10th of Tevet? It's on the 10th. You got some answers for you already in the names. Shvat. Very good. 2 stands for Tetvav. Tetvav is 15. Right? Tet is 9. Vav is 6. 9 plus 6, 15. 2 Bishvat. Adar, finally. Purim is on the 14th. And in the walled cities, it's on the 15th. And Esther's fast, 13th, the day before Purim. Very good. Okay, so every holiday has its date. What's curious? Shavuot, it doesn't say its date in the Torah. It says you count 49 days from Pesach. Now, how many months have passed between Nisan through to Sivan? That's
the whole month?
Rosh Chodesh Iyar and Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Now we know Rosh Chodesh sometimes it's 1 day, sometimes it's 2 days. It means a month can be 29 days, it can come in 30 days. So that's why essentially the holiday of Shavuot doesn't have a date. It's variable because it depends when the 49 days are up. It depends that the rabbis make the month 29 days or 30 days. Both the month of Iyar and the month of Nisan. So that's why we don't have a date in the Torah for Shavuot. It just says on the 50th day after you count for the 49 days. But nowadays, the way we have a set calendar, rabbis don't make up their minds every week, every year. They don't change what's the calendar date of how the months work. So Shavuot every year, since the 7th century, is on the 6th of Sivan. Now you got the right answer, Michael Aryeh. Hananel, you got the answer? Which day of Sivan is Shavuot? 6. 6.
Yeah.
Sixth of Sivan. Never.
Never, obviously.
For 1300 years it's been on the 6th of Sivan. I make it always set. We set a date for it. Okay? But biblically, of course, it's connected to counting from Pesach. So it was variable. Now it's not variable anymore. We always have Shavuot on the 6th of Sivan. Okay? All right. Good review of the calendar. Are we ready to go on and learn about Shavuot?
Yes.
Page 221. Tomorrow you'll be tested on this.
Yes.
The 12 months of the year and the dates of all the holidays. It's right here on the page. Does anybody not know the answers? Want me to review it one more time so you got the answers right? 15th until 21.
Yeah.
Iyar. Yom Ha'atzmaut. No, Iyar. We're going down the list. See the list? Number 2. Month number 2. When is the festival of Yom Ha'atzmaut? 5. And when is the festival of Pesach Sheni? 15. And
18th.
Lag BaOmer is 18th. And Yom Yerushalayim is 28. Okay. Hanana, you got that? Yisrael, you got it? Yeah? Next month of Sivan. Shavuot. What's the date of Shavuot? 6th of Sivan. If you want to be really smart, you can say 50 days after Pesach. That would be more precise biblically. Next month. Tammuz. When do we have a fast day?
On the 17th.
Oh, it already says that for you. 17th of Tammuz.
And Tammuz? 17.
It says there already. It's filled in for you.
Yeah.
Av.
And yeah, 9.
When do we have a fast day in Av, Israel? In Av. When do we have a fast day in Av? The month of Av. The month of Av. Month number 5. When do we have a fast day? On which day of Av? The answer is written for you. Look on the page. The answer is there. What's the name of the fast of Av? 9. It's the 9th of Av. Yeah, Tisha B'Av. That's what the words mean. 9th of Av. Okay, Hananel. Elul. There's no specific holiday. All the whole month is preparation.
Rosh Hashanah is 1 to
It's
2.
which month is Rosh Hashanah in?
Tishrei.
Tishrei. Which dates?
1 to 2.
1 to 2. Very good.
And 10.
Yom Kippur is 10. Yom Kippur is 10.
And Sukkot 15 to
15 to 22. 15 to 22. Very good.
Hishvan?
No holidays.
Yeah. This is making me.
You memorize it by tomorrow. You sit and memorize it, okay? Hananel,
Kislev.
when is Chanukah? Oh, so now you're here. So ask if you don't know.
25
Yisrael, when is Kislev? When is Chanukah in Kislev?
Kislev 25.
25.
25. It starts on the 25th. You know what we say? Sometimes this is how you write Chanukah in Hebrew. And some people say, look at the last 2 letters. Kaf, hey, 25. They rested, Chanu, they rested Chafei on the 25th. But it goes for 8 days. Chanukah, so there's 5 days left of Kislev, and then 3 more days of Tivet, or 4 days, and you have
No, but
the 8 days of
that
Chanukah.
goes from the 25 of Kislev to the 3rd of Tevet.
It's the only holiday that always has a Rosh Chodesh in it. Rosh Chodesh Tevet is always in the middle of Chanukah. We mentioned it the other day when we said sometimes we have 3 Sifrei Torah that we take out. When it's Rosh Chodesh, Shabbat, and Chanukah. Next, the 10th of Tevet fast day. Hananel, when's the 10th of Tevet fast day? The 10th of Tevet, very good. And Tu B'Shvat, Gabriel? 15. 2, right? 15. Shvat. Adar, Purim, 14th, and in Jerusalem, it's on the 5th day. 5th Purim is either the 14th or the 15th. And the fast of Esther is on the 13th. 13th. Fast of Esther, 13th of Adar.
Adar 14th, 15th.
That's for Purim. Purim.
Esther is 13th.
Exactly. Okay? Tomorrow, you guys will be tested on this. All right, let's continue. Page 221. Stephen, take it away.
Preparation and purification during Sefirat HaOmer. The relationship between God and the Jewish people is compared to that of a bride and groom. As we read, as a bridegroom rejoices over his bride, so will your God rejoice over you. Yeshayahu 62:5. In a similar vein, we read, thus said the Lord, I accounted to your favor the devotion of your youth, your love as a bride. How you follow me in the wilderness, in a land not sown. Yirmiyahu 2:2. The exodus from Egypt is considered an act of betrothal, because with it God separated us from all the nations and sanctified us by making us His special nation. The day of the giving of the Torah is likened to a wedding day, Ta'anit 26b, because through the Torah our lives are intertwined with God. The sages explained that even after the Jews left Egypt, they still could not receive the Torah, as during their enslavement they had descended to the 49 level of impurity, just as a menstruating woman needs to count 7 days before she can immerse and purify herself. So too the Jews needed to count 7 days, 7 weeks in order to purify themselves from the impurity of Egypt and become fit to connect with God.
So we're getting married. Who are we getting married to?
Hashem.
Hashem. When? When's the wedding date?
6th of Sivan.
The 6th of Sivan is the wedding date. Are you ready?
Yes.
What do you have to do before you get married?
To prepare.
You have to get a haircut, buy a suit, right?
Yes.
Build a house, maybe even. Get a job. I don't know.
But we are the woman in this case, right?
Ah, that's a good question, right? Yeah. God, bride, yeah, we're the woman, we're the bride, right? We followed God out into the desert, right? So we're the kala, we're the bride. Anyways, yafeh. So we're getting married. Aren't you excited? Don't you want to get married, Hananel? When are we getting married? In how many days?
In 38 min 49. That is 8, 10, 9 days.
12 days. 12 days. 12 days. The day after the 49th day. The 50th day. 50 minus 38 is 12.
Yes.
12 days left. Are you ready to get married, Michael? Are you?
Yes.
Yes? You ready? You purified yourself.
Still purifying.
Still purifying. You got 12 days to go. Okay, why 7? It's interesting. A woman counts 7 days and then immerses herself. Go ahead, Stephen. The number 7.
The number 7 indicates the complete manifestation of something, as the world was created in 7 days. Indeed, every physical entity has 6 sides, 4 lateral sides, a top and a bottom, as well as a 7th aspect, its essence. Man has 7 facets as well, which is why it takes 7 days to go on from a state of defilement to a state of purity. For 7 days, one prepares every facet of selfhood to rise from the defilement to purity. The same is true of purification for sacred endeavor in this world, like eating teruma and sacrificial foods, and a woman's purification for her husband. However, receiving the Torah, the divine Torah, whose lofty status belong to the supernal world, require a much deeper count. 7 days, 7 weeks instead of the 7 days. In this count, each of the 7 numbers is manifested through all 7 of its facets. Thus, our purification to receive the Torah is complete. Every aspect of our character undergoes refinement and expresses its yearning and anticipation for receiving the Torah. We were thus able to achieve the higher height beyond nature and receive the divine Torah, through which we are able to perfect and elevate the world, bringing it closer to redemption.
Okay, so it's all about, it's a one big gamble. What do I draw here?
What
is this?
Dice.
Dice.
Kubus. Oh, dice.
Dice, right? For games, you play with the dice. What does this have to do with Sfirat HaOmer? Did you ever play a game? You roll the dice? Backgammon?
We'll do it Purim, okay?
What does this have to do with Pesach, Shavuot? So he says each dice has 6 sides plus 1, right? There's 6 sides of the dice, and then there's 1 point on the inside. So each dice represents a cycle of 7, or a completion of 7. 7, like Shabbat, a week has 7 days. So Shabbat, a week, is described by a dice. It's actually called a die in English, singular. What do? We want to go through a cycle of getting ready, preparing ourselves for the wedding. So we have to go through 7 days. We have to go through day 1, day 2, day 3. But wait, not just once. We have 2 dice. For each day that the dice is on, let's say, number 1, the other one has to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we need 7 weeks to get the full combination of the 2 dice. 7 times 7. Then you've got the combination of each dice, right? Let's say one of them is blue, and the other one's white. To make a combination, to always have all the combinations, we need 7 times 7, 49 combinations. That's what we're doing in Sfirat Omer, right? 7 weeks, 7 days for each week. Each week is associated with a particular aspect called a Sfira. And what Sfira are we in now? We're in the 6th week, right?
We're in the Sfira of Yesod.
Sfira of Yesod, that's right. Connecting. So the connecting, whatever you built up till now, it's connecting it to the other side, the person who's receiving, or Hashem. And so now we have Chesed in Yesod, Gevura in Yesod, Tiferet in Yesod. Today is Tiferet, should be Yesod, right? 38. Tiferet should be Yesod. So this is the rolling of the dice. The secret of the rolling of the dice. Sfirat HaOmer. Don't think a dice is only 6. It's really, there's 7 numbers in a dice. It's like this. The world, 4 directions, up and down. But then there's the center, the essence of time, space, as it's called. Okay, so far so good? Yeah, was I right? It's Tiferet Shebe Yesod? Tiferet Shebe Yesod today, 38? Oh, you're at week 5. We're already up to week 6.
Oh.
You gotta keep going. Find the right day. All right. Now there's another element of counting. We said before, it's like getting ready for being married, getting ready for your wedding. Are you excited? Of course you're excited. You're counting the days, right? Gabriel, you have everything set, right? You have the hall, you have your suit, your shoes. I see you cleaned up you had a nice haircut. There's only one thing missing, right? Who's the bride? Oh, there you go. All right, let's go. Stephen, 222 in the middle. Throughout these 7 weeks.
Throughout these 7 weeks, Israel eagerly awaited and anxiously anticipated receiving the Torah. A Midrash relates that when Moshe announced to Israel that after leaving Egypt, they would worship God at Mount Sinai and receive the Torah, they asked him, "When will this take place?" Moshe answered, "After 50 days. Then, due to their great love for God, they counted every day, saying 1 day has passed, 2 days has passed, and so on every day. Because of their love and anticipation for the Torah, it seems like a long time to them." Shibolei HaLeket 236. Because of this, their Torah endures as the sages said. If one fear of sin precedes his wisdom will endure. If his wisdom precedes his fear of sin, his wisdom will not endure.
So we have to have fear of sin first before we get the wisdom at Sinai. We have to prepare. Okay? Preparation. Michael Arya, take over. Preparation.
The preparation and purification leading up to Shavuot are so important that they give its primary name, Chag HaShavuot. As we read, you shall count of 7 weeks. Start to count the 7 weeks when the sickle is first put to the standing grain. Then you shall observe the festival of weeks for Hashem your God. Similarly, we read, you shall observe the festival of weeks of the first fruits of the wheat harvest. Since preparation is so important, one should be careful not to begin Ma'ariv of Shavuot before Tzed HaKochavim, so that every bit of the 7 weeks preparation period may be utilized and the preparation for seeing the Torah can be completed.
I have a question for you. If you know you're getting married in 7 days, and then you're going to have the wedding. What do you call the wedding day? Call it the day of my wedding, right? You don't call it the day of my preparation week. Very strange thing. Shavuot is called the festival of the weeks. We should call it the festival of the wedding, or the festival of the celebration of Torah. Why do we call it the festival of weeks? Menachem says it shows you how important those preparation is. The weeks are important. We're supposed to be counting the 7 weeks. There's significance to the path between Pesach and Shavuot. And that's why the holiday itself is even called the Festival of Shavuot. It's the culmination of the preparation. It's the culmination of the 7 weeks. That's why it's the Festival of Weeks. Chag HaShavuot. The Festival of the Weeks. The Seder. It's important to get ready. Next, page 223. Getting ready. That was the first name of Shavuot, right? Who remembers the 4 names of Shavuot?
Other names?
Yeah.
Matan Torah.
Yeah, Chagavot, Katzir, Bikurim, and Atzeret. Yofe.
What is the question?
There's 4 names of Shavuot. We started it when you weren't here at the beginning, but at the beginning of the chapter it says there's 4 names. There's actually a 5th. The 5th is the one that we're going to talk about now, and that's Chag Matan Torah. There we say it explicitly. Basically, what the Torah meant to say was get ready for the weeks, and then you have the Torah. But it didn't say that explicitly, so it's called Chag HaShavuot. But ultimately, there is another name for the Shavuot, and that is, there's a 5th name of Shavuot, and it's called Chag Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. Matan Torah. Let's read about that on page 223. Michael Arn.
The time of the giving of the Torah. From the time of creation, the earth was filled with trepidation, for God made a condition with the works of creation, saying, if the Jews accept the Torah, you will endure. If not, I will return you to primordial chaos. This idea is also expressed in the Midrash on the verse, and God saw that all that he had made and found it very good, and he found it very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the 6th day. According to the Midrash, the definite article is prefixed to 6th day, to teach us that the existence of the world depends upon a specific 6th day, the 6th day of Sivan. When the Jews arrived at Mount Sinai and accepted the Torah.
What do you think that means? That the earth was filled with trepidation until the revelation at Sinai. Was there, like, if they could measure, do you think the earth was shaking? What is this midrash telling us? The existence of the world depended on the 6th day, not the 6th day of creation, the 6th day of Sivan, the day that the Torah was given. The Chazal were trying to explain to us how the world cannot exist without Torah. They said the earth was filled with trepidation. If the Jews don't accept the Torah, the world is chaos. Okay? Got that? It's a very powerful statement. What is the most important day for the entire world? Must be the day the Torah was given. Otherwise, the world would cease to exist. Actually, go ahead.
According to this,
Actually.
actually we are given Torah on the 51st day of Sefirat HaOmer. According to the Gemara, God originally commanded Moshe to tell the Jews to purify themselves for 2 days before giving the Torah on Friday. Moshe added a day, instructing the Jews to purify themselves for 3 days. God went along with Moshe and waited until Shabbat to reveal himself on Mount Sinai. This remarkable account teaches us how important the oral Torah is. It mediates between us and the exalted written Torah. Without the oral Torah, the written Torah could not have been revealed. Therefore, even the giving of the Torah itself was postponed for a day because of the oral Torah. It's the interpretation of Moshe Rabbeinu.
Very strange. So, really, we have Rav Melamed is quoting the Shabbat 86b. So there's a passage in the Talmud which describes in great detail. They try to figure out based on what it says in the Torah when they arrived at the Mount Sinai and how many days they prepared. 2 days. Moshe says 3 days. The way they work it out is that the original event was delayed for a day, and it wasn't given on the 50th day. It was given on the 51st day. And that means that year, the year of the giving of the Torah, when was the Torah given? Not on the 6th of Sivan, but on the 7th.
Right.
Because Moshe asked for another day, or interpreted that they should mean another day. And God went along with him. The critical aspect here is that the Torah was given together with man. That's what we call the oral Torah. Oral Torah is when man has input into the Torah as well. And Hashem responds to Moshe and therefore gave the Torah on the 51st day, not the 50th day. So the question therefore is, this would seem, I'm going to read at the bottom of the page, however, the last paragraph, this would seem to present us a difficulty. Shulchan Aruch states we refer to Shavuot as Zman Matan Torateinu, the season of the giving of our Torah. Why do we call it that? If Shavuot is not actually the day the Torah was given. Shavuot takes place on the 50th day of the Omer, which is usually the 6th of Sivan. Well, the Gemara above states that we received the Torah on the 51st day. The answer is that in truth, from a heavenly point of view, right after the completion of Sefirat HaOmer, the sacred day of the giving of the Torah arrived. And God blessed us with the Torah in potential. It was only from the human point of view that we needed an additional day before we were capable of receiving it in actuality. Nevertheless, for future generations, the giving of the Torah is commemorated on the day that God had originally ordained and sanctified when the Torah was given to us in potentiality. So it's a little bit of a curious twist here. We celebrate Shavuot on the day that it was God intended to give it to us, even though that year it didn't work out to be exactly on the 50th day. It was actually on the 51st day. This is one interpretation. The Maharal's explanation, as you can see in the footnote, there was actually different interpretations based on other opinions in the Midrash and in the Gemara. But one way to understand that is it shows you how important the oral tradition is. The oral tradition, that Moshe was involved with some kind of a back and forth with God about how much preparation the Jewish people needed. In any case, we celebrate, like it says in the Torah, day 50. Every year, Chag HaShavuot is after 7 weeks. 7 weeks, 7 times 7 is 49. After the 49th day, the 50th day, is the Chag HaShavuot. And we also call it Zman Matan Torateinu. We mentioned that it's the day that the Torah was given, even though the original giving of the Torah might have actually been on the 51st day, based on our sages' discussion in the Gemara of Shabbat. So far, so good? Okay, we're going to return to that, and you're going to hear a lot about the Torah being given on Shavuot. But I heard another explanation. Let me share it with you. The day that the Torah was given, that's what we say, Zman, matana, what's a matana? A gift. A gift. So the Torah was given as a gift, matan Torah time. That was on the 51st day. That was what we celebrate. When is the day of Kabbalat HaTorah? Receiving of the Torah. Right? When someone gives you a gift, there's two people involved. There's the giver, and then there's the receiver. We don't call the day of Shavuot the day of Kabbalat HaTorah. We call it Zman Matan Toratenu. Do you know why? When is the day of Kabbalat HaTorah? Of receiving of the Torah? Nope.
Regeneration, day, you can say.
Excellent.
On a spiritual level.
Yes, excellent. Every day, when we say Shema Yisrael, we say we're mekabel, we take upon ourselves. Every day, you take upon yourselves the Torah. If you're converting, the day you stand before Beit Din, you accept upon yourself the Torah. And every Jew, every day of his life, it's up to you to receive the Torah. God gives it. God gives it. It's up to you to receive it. You have to receive the Torah each and every single day. We say Shema every day. Not only when you convert. Not only when you go to the mikvah. Right? You receive the Torah. I met a former student yesterday on Shabbat. He used to study here in the Machon. Now he lives in Tekoa with his wife. I think 2 or 3 children. Saw him on the road, walking down the road. Said, hello, how are you? He says, Rabbi, give me a Dvar Torah. Gotta watch out when you're a rabbi. You gotta always have something up your sleeve. You never know when somebody's gonna attack you and ask you for a Dvar Torah. So I gave him a little Dvar Torah, and then I said something that I always repeat. Every Jew in his life has 3 stages. When you have your Brit Milah, that's the first mitzvah. You become a Jew. That's when you're 8 days old. And then when you become Bar Mitzvah, when do you become Bar Mitzvah?
13 years.
When you're 13 years old. Many Jews stop there. It's not enough. The next stage is to become a Ben Torah. Ben Torah, it's like Bar Mitzvah. Bar means the son. Means you're obligated by mitzvot. When do you become a Ben Torah? It's up to you. It's up to you when you become a Ben Torah. Whenever you take upon yourself to study Torah and to live by the Torah, then you are called a Ben Torah. It means you're a Torah Jew, not just a mitzvah Jew. You have to be a Torah Jew, as well as a mitzvah Jew, as well as a born Jew. Yeah, if you get your circumcision when you're 8 days, you're a born Jew. But then you have to have a bar mitzvah. Many people never studied anything. They never had a bar mitzvah.
What's the difference between Torah Jew and a mitzvah Jew?
What's the difference? You tell me.
A bar mitzvah Jew,
A mitzvah Jew, a Jew who tries to keep all the mitzvot. And he goes to shul, and he shakes a lulav on the times to shake the lulav, and he puts on tefillin. It's very good, very high level. Someone who keeps all the mitzvot. That's a mitzvah Jew. What's a Torah Jew?
So I understand what he's doing.
He studies the Torah. He goes deeper. He understands. He tries to understand what he's doing. Studying Torah, being involved with Torah, that's a whole nother level of being a Jew. Not just a Jew in practice, but it occupies your mind and your thoughts and your spirit. That's a Torah Jew. He's always involved in studying Torah.
Yesterday I saw something.
Did you see a Torah Jew yesterday?
No, but there was a guy who was talking about this. He said why some people they say he had many good friends that left Judaism, and then he take because some people they only learn to what to do, but not why to do.
Oh,
They say
oh.
obligation, but there's no motivation. So it's no why.
Yeah, fair.
And then think about what you say.
Nice, similar ideas. That's right. The way to get the motivation, the way to understand more deeper, is through Torah. So that's why you have to be a Torah Jew, not just a mitzvah Jew. Okay? We're struggling to be both at the same time. Hashem should give us strength. Zot Hashem. 12 more days.
Yes.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Zot Hashem.